Hi everybody, welcome to this evening's webinar on the Introduction to Quick Quote, the all-new EstimatorXpress plugin for quicker estimating. I am your presenter, Thomas Brooks. I am a member of the HBXL support team. In this webinar, we will be going through an overview of the EstimatorXpress Quick Quote plugin, under its full name there, and a demonstration of Quick Quote using templates, adding rooms to the Quick Quote, and how to add additional templates to the Quick Quote, finally finishing off with a questions and answers session. Now, the overview of Quick Quote is a very basic premise. Make everything quicker while retaining the same level of accuracy as before. So, Quick Quote is perfect for creating home extensions, new builds and refurbs, say in minutes. Even if you don't have plans from your client, if you've got an idea of what the dimensions are going to be, you can quickly put together a quote based on that for them to work with. You can choose from a range of whole project templates, say with endless permutations of the roofs, wall finishes, floors and internal fitting out, and you can combine these as well, so you don't have to just pick one type of project. You can combine an extension and a renovation and even a new build garage or something on the side as well. And the whole idea is that you can select the specification as you would at the beginning of the job, pick the template that you're going to use, and then just go through tweaking the dimensions, hit create estimate, and you're done. Many reasons say that this has been warmly welcomed by our users, such as yourselves, is that it removes that whole in and out process of entering workbooks. Everything is there for you in one place to go through, peruse, confirm you've covered everything, and then just hit that button to give you your estimate. You've still got the opportunity to make adjustments, change materials, make the final checks, but the vast majority of in and out work is all done for you. So we're going to start now with a demonstration of the EstimatorXpress Quick Quote plugin. Now I've started on this screen, but I'm going to go back to my front page, because for those of you that may not have the Quick Quote yet, there are quite a few new workbooks that have been added to the software to allow for some of the templates to work. An example of which is the it's sort of like a joining wall plastering. So what would be the external wall is now an internal wall and it needs to be plastered on an extension. There are new bathroom cloaks workbooks that have been updated with new materials added. So when you update to the very latest version, you will be prompted to do a price per download, but as always, before doing anything, do a download prices before starting your estimate. So I'm going to go into my estimates, and I am going to select new estimate. Now, for those of you that have yet to come up with the latest update, the new front end of the software for creating an estimate is as such. At the top, we have our Quick Quote standard job template, so we pick from our predefined styles. Next, we have the Quick Quote custom estimate. This is where we can just bring in a select group of workbooks to work with, such as using the rooms. Then we have our Plans Express import for rapid takeoff. So those of you that already have Plans Express, that would be the button you'd then click to find your drawing. And then finally, our custom estimate using estimating calculators. Our classic, as it was before. So if you're doing some of those, say, small jobs and just need to grab a workbook or two, still ideal. Some of you that you're very familiar with how it works, you may feel comfortable in that. So I'm going to start with the Quick Quote standard job template. instead of an 8-step menu, we now have one page. So for this now, I'm going to give a job name of Training Webinar, job description, QQ, just so it's there. Job number 1. Now you'll see that there's a select job profile there. So if you've saved a job profile in the past, so if you've filled out this page, you've selected the workbooks, the charts, chart types, specification, mini specs, you can save that as a profile. So next time you start an estimate, you can just pick the profile without having to fill all this out again. There's even an introduction video here now as well for how this say quick quote works as well. So we're starting to add the help videos into the software as and when they will be applicable. So I'm going to make sure I've got my master price book selected, and I'm going to make sure my group of workbooks is selected. So in this case, quick quote import, much like the plans express before, it knows that it's all going to be picking the workbooks out during the process, so it's just going to start off with a very small list. Start date of the job, so I can say 28th, chart type, and in this case I'm going to go with a small extension. Specification, I'm going to select the extension specification. Bear with me one moment. Apologies. And next I'm going to select the mini spec. So everything's here now as before. Okay, so I'm going to select a 8 facing brick for extension renovation, roof tiling, Pantoff extension renovation. I'm going to leave the guttering same as the existing spec, and also leave the decoration there as well. Now in here, I can also review the profit markups if I want to change them before proceeding with the estimate, and also the inflation rates. But the first thing I'll do now is just going to click Create Estimate. I'm now presented with the template library. In here, I can filter through what types of templates I want to look at. So all house, bungalows, extensions, detached garage or garage extensions. So I'm going to look at the extensions list, which has filtered this down a bit, and I can select the wall finish. So if I select render, brick, and stone. So you would pick the closest approximation of what you're going to be working on. If you're going to be doing, say, a custom type render, you can always just pick the render, set that's not required, and use your own. And now I'm going to select a template to work with. Now in here, one of the more special templates, and one of the most clever ones, are the new wraparound extensions. Okay, so I'm going to select corner hip and lean to roof single story extension. In here now, I can select a little bit more of the specification for what the job is going to do. So I can say brick and block with cut roof, with a truss roof, or refine again my choice of template. So I'm going to go brick and block with cut roof. I could filter down the sections that I'm going to be estimating and remove them from here if they're items I don't require. But in this case, even though I don't need removal of existing slab, I could remove it, I could leave it in there, or I can just untick and it's not going to be something that I'm going to have to worry about filling in. When I'm happy with the items that are going to be added in, I'm going to click OK. And my quick quote will now open up, and it will give me the template of the extension that I'm going to be doing. I don't have to follow the dimensions here perfectly. I'm going to make some changes on here. I'm going to change that to, say, 6. I'm going to change that to 3, and I'm going to change this to 5. Okay, I'm going to change this dimension here as well to 3 meters. So it's say works alongside there, and now I have the basic floor plan of my estimate. Now with these key bits of information, I've got the plastering allowance, I've got the brick block allowance, foundations, the floor size, the roof size, and everything just through those few dimensions. This is controlled here by extension to existing building. I can allow for the plastering, I can allow to decorate fascias and soffits, I can allow for the decoration, and allow for internal finishes to the external walls. I also have a bit more refinement here, such as the ceiling heights I can change, soffit eaves, cavity wall foundation depth below site strip, so 900. So this will start affecting workbooks as they're imported here. Let's look at these dimensions specifically. Roof pitch, so I'm going to change that down to 25 degrees. I can see what these settings are by looking at the standard settings, and this is something that it's going to be looking at, referring to for all the various workbooks it's going to be using. So for my floors, instead of having to actively change these each time I add an extra floor in, I can just change the universal setting if there's an apply perimeter sealant. The upper floors, typical upper floor thickness. Upper floors apply perimeter sealant to all upstairs rooms. So I can control one option here and affect all the imported options through the estimate. I can still change them as I get into the workbooks themselves if something is not the same as everything else, but it just means I don't have to constantly change it. And if you do change something in here, such as if I'd say I don't apply sealant, I can then click Save as Defaults, and those will be my preferred choices whenever I use the quick quote. I won't have to keep changing them every time, so we're constantly speeding things up. Same again for my foundations. A lot of people have, say, variances on their foundations that they have to use, varying by area. So I can set my foundation widths in here, and then just save them as defaults. ICF, roof truss centers, cut roof centers, are there fascias, etc. SIPs and general walls as well. So length projection to support pier, spacing of piers, etc. We've reviewed those, so I'm going to click OK. I'm going to move down now. I've got my external walls here already, downstairs brick and block cavity wall. That has now been added in. That's part of the template, is already there. I can actually click on the DIMS button, so I can review that there. So I'm going to select that, and the dimensions wizard from the workbook is now available for me to use. You'll see here that there are also these items now are in green. They have a green background, and that indicates that that information is being fed from other items within the quick quote. In this case, the green height and length is being fed through from the wall template that I've selected. Items such as the number of identical walls there in orange, you don't want to change those because it's just one wall, it's that one length. Gable dimensions, again, there are no gables in this one, but it's feeding that information through from the template. As I go through, those come through from the template, and the item there with the 0.6, which is the foundation width, has a say more of a skin tone colour there, kind of say a peach background. That there is to indicate that it's coming through from those default templates, the ones that we've just reviewed and that we can edit. So you don't have to keep changing that every time. It comes through from your preferred preferences. What's not coming through from the preferred preferences or the template is the footing details. So here you will see that they are still standard building regs. If you do wish to change them, you can do it at this point. If your specification that you use says no to any foundation blocks, then even if there's a dimension in here, it will ignore that because your specification says not applicable. And your footings account for that. And again, the plastering is controlled by the template. I can click Finish. And now I've done that section, I can click Completed, and it's minimized. So it's now moved out of the way. And as I move through the list gets smaller physically, meaning I have a nice, visual aid to see what I've done, what I've finished. I can review the floors in the same section as well. And I can also review the floor finish. Click Complete, and the roofs as well. Click Dims on the roof, and I'm going to look at the the section for the hip roof section. As you see, it's combining multiple roof sections already for you just based on that template. Again, we see the peach color for what's our default settings, green for what's coming through on a template. Click Complete, and now here's one of the very new items, one of the new very clever items as well, and that's our corner structural alteration. So many of you have encountered, say, the structural opening workbooks and the fabricated steel beam workbooks, but what we have here is something entirely new for you that allows us to work out the steels on the corner removal. Yeah, it happens frequently in building. It's something that has now been covered by the software. So as you can see there, it's got the 2.7 feeding off the 3 meters that I typed into my template at the beginning. 3 meters for this steel. And it's given me planned items there that I can now review and change if required. Links to steel posts if required. And then the plastering to all those items. So I'm going to quickly now run through some of the other items so we can move on to adding extra items into this estimate. So structural openings, there are no structural openings currently. We've got that being covered by the corner structural alteration. But if you was to want to add something there, you would just go to the Add Item to Select. We'll come across these more as we go through. New workbook here, plastering to existing connecting walls. So downstairs and downstairs again, because we've got the two sections that are going to be becoming existing walls, and we can look at the dimensions wizard for these as well. And sometimes these have been items that when doing a standard estimate, if you're doing say an extension, you may have missed out. If you're doing it in EstimatorXpress, you can see the wall that it remains, but if you're just doing an extension through EstimatorXpress, it might be that you've forgotten about the item that you're building everything onto. That existing wall, it needs plastering, needs decorating. So their workbook there is now covering for that automatically within the quick quote. Now, we've got no external doors in our estimate so far, it's just walls. So as we come through the quick quote, we start getting the opportunity to add items in. So select door type to add. In this case, I can just select a patio door. I can select an 1800 patio door, click OK. I can say top treatment to add. I can add in brickwork or a heading stone. But in this case, I just want to say number of these 1. If I want to make alterations to this, I can then go into the DIMS wizard for this and make those alterations. So if I need to make this slightly wider, I can do. You'll see there plastering and painting options coming through in green. If I've got more than one of these, I can copy that, or if I've made a mistake and it's a different door entirely, I can just bin that with the delete door button. I can go to Windows and apply the very same thing as well. And in here as well, we also have access to the Crystal Direct items as well. So I can select a window from the catalog, and it brings the standard picker up as previous. So metric casement window, style, I'm going to go with style 27, width, height, just a square window there, I set U value of 1.4 and make sure it's in white. Select that window and click select window. Now this is selecting a cavity of 125, so I'm just going to say wall type, cavity wall, cavity width 100 to 95, length 1500. Select the lintel and pick my cav closers as well, and move on from there. In one moment. But I'm just going to take a quick sip of my coffee. Okay, so I've handled an external door there. I'm happy with that external door, and I've handled a window. So I'm going to click complete there. If I've got any roof windows, such as a Velux, I can then add one of these in now and say number of 1. So as you see, I'm building up this estimate very, very quickly, and I'm taking my time with this as I'm talking through these items. So hopefully, say, if you've used EstimatorXpress in its standard form, seeing these items here, how easy it is to select this, it should be come together quite clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit completed on the rest of these items. I'm going to move down to a feature called Rooms. Okay, Rooms allows us to estimate a whole room. We can mentally compartmentalize a renovation just by doing room by room by room, or we can add in a room to an extension that is a renovation to the existing part of the building. Now, if I come to the room section here now, I can say select room type to add, and I can say I've got a rectangular room with flat ceiling, and my room editor appears. I can then select the description of this room, so I can say this is going to be a kitchen. I can say the length of the room is 5, width of the room 3. As I click into the boxes, arrows appear to help me see what I'm filling in. Then I just start populating what's in this room. So I can see what opening. I can say link estimated opening. I can say as patio door Velux, it's not going to be either of those two, so I'm going to add an existing opening, internal door, and say the height of this, because we're not adding the whole door in, we're just excluding from the room from the wall plastering. Okay, so height 2.1, width 0.8, let's say. Okay, reveal depth 0.15, and then add another one. I could be going into the kitchen or from the other side and say that one's got a reveal depth of 0.1. I can then go to room estimated items. Okay, and this is another section where we've got some, say, seriously clever stuff going on in here. We can go select type of workbook to add. So I'm going to select a renovation workbook, renovation type of workbook. I then have the option then to add the workbook in. So we're almost getting into classic estimator style here, but we're feeding the information from a template. So I'm going to say internal renovation, one of my favorite workbooks. Select, I can go reskim, skirt, and decorate. Select that item there. It's already picked up the dimensions from my room. I don't have to fill anything in. Running through here now. Now, if it's already picked up the dimensions, I can practically just leave that as is. Number of doors, it's averaged out the sizes. So it's going to start excluding that from the plastering and hacking off because I've just given it those 2 doors. No windows. I've not linked any windows in, so that's fine. And then the ceiling area as well. So I've renovated this room and I've decorated it. I can go add workbooks. I can then say add in, replace existing floorboards. Again, it's picked out the dimensions from the template. I can even add in a regular area if I need to, but it's giving me 1, so I'm going to leave that as 0. Area of openings in the floor, there are no openings. And if I require any plant, I can add those days in now. And once again, once you hit the estimating side of things, you can go into the workbook and review that and change the plant itself if required. Click Finish, and I've now added those workbooks. I'll scroll down and you'll see them now start being added into the room editor below. I can add additional worksheets if I want to, say, add other parts of the room itself, but that's all covered in one section. I can come here now and pick a different type of workbook that I wish to add. I may wish to add in a radiator. I go to Add Workbooks again, and now my radiators are presented for me. Select the radiator. And that radiator is added in. Now I'm going to delete that one out. And what I'm actually going to do is going to go to Add Group of Electrical Items. Quantity Kitchen has already picked the kitchen because I've got the room description. And select. There we go. And straight away, by selecting the kitchen items, it's giving me internal lighting as ceiling rows, by default 2 of them, light switches and unit lighting. I can add worksheets still and add in downlighters. And say I want 6 of those. I've got my kitchen electrics, electrical sockets, and a TV point as well in the kitchen if I wish to. If I don't need the TV point in the kitchen, I can just delete that worksheet out. It's not required. I can add a group of plumbing items, and I can select the template for plumbing items. So kitchen, pipe feeding, ceiling. Select. Items to be estimated for the following items are dependent on the size of the rooms listed. Please enter the size of each room below. Kitchen, pipe feeding, ceiling. It can see the size by the room I've based it. Click OK. And that's added even more items into this room. Now beware, if you're working items out via rooms, make sure you're not double estimating by adding it again into the standard quick quote templates, adding extra workbooks in. We can handle everything in this room just by this room, and we can, if we're doing any additional stuff, we might be handling that via the rest of the estimate. Now once I'm done, I can click Close. It's going to point out to me that I have added the following workbooks to my room, but not added any worksheets to use them. So general electrical installation, I say yes, and it will prompt me to check out my general electrical installation. I've got no worksheets now. I don't need any of that. I don't need TV points, consumer units. I may actually add a smoke alarm into the kitchen. That's not a bad idea. Let's do that one. We could even add testing and commissioning while we're here. Okay, so it's prompted me. I've gone back, revisited, and made sure that's added. I'm happy with everything else. Click OK, and I've now got the kitchen estimated alongside my extension. And that is a lot of items contained within that kitchen. That's lots of workbooks, especially within the electrical and plumbing side of things. Internal renovation, that's a quick one. That's straightforward anyway. But it's already pinching the dimensions off everything we've selected. But the ability to just grab whole sections of electricals and plumbing is fantastic. And then we can just add another room. So we could say there's an L-shaped room, or an any-shaped room with flat ceiling, or one with a vaulted ceiling. So we'll do one more room quickly. And say what we're going to do is say length of walls. Now it's going to ask you for the measurement on this one, because if it's a picky shaped room, it's not going to be able to template it very easily. So we're going to say these are 18 meters, okay, of wall. Actually, let's bring it down a little bit. Let's go 16. Height of walls 2.4. Area of room, and let's say 4. I'll just say, I'm going to maths in my head there. It's terribly wrong, but I'm now going to get my description and just say this is going to be a bedroom. I've got no linked estimated openings, so I'm going to add an internal door there of 2.1, width 0.8. I'm going to add an existing opening again and say this one is going to be a window. Height 1.2, width 1.4. Reveal depths, best not forget those. And that's my openings in the room done again. And I'm just going to go in here and say this room needs painting. So I'm going to go to a decoration workbook there, add workbook, complete room decoration, select, paint walls and skirtings, select, run through, just accept my defaults, and I've done my, I've painted the room out. Fantastic. Okay, I can even go to fitting out, add workbooks. I can even add in some electric underfloor heating to this bedroom as well, because why not? There you go. Very quick. Close and done. So I can continue going through the rest of the house, adding in all the other items that I want to be tackling. It's very convenient as well, especially when you do have to do renovation items onto a project. Okay, completed. I'm not going to add any additional plastering workbooks, though if I did want to add in some standard plastering, I can just go into the workbooks traditionally and add in, say, complete room plastering, select. It will give me the option, say, would I prefer to estimate using a room? So in here, if I was to say no, I can go in there and add in the dimensions as I would traditionally. Basically going, this is the height of the walls, this is the length of the walls, etc, etc. But it's going to give me the option there to add it in as a room. I'm going to say no for now, and say typical room plastering installation, and we're back to before. I'm going to hit cancel on this one, and I'm going to delete that workbook. So as you can see, it's very quick to run through the project. I can even add in the preliminaries here as well. So we can put in some site establishment, some travel costs, and some scaffolding. And roofing sundries, there we go, select. Add it in the workbooks we wish to use. Now, roofing sundries, any additional PVC board that we want to be using, cancel that, not going to bother with that one. Delete that workbook. Scaffolding. Small single story extension, there we go. site establishment for small extension. So do we need a cabin on this? There might not even be a requirement for a cabin on this. Yeah, you might be able to have, like say, access to the provisions within the house. So we could say 0 to cabin and toilets because they're actually going to be within the building itself. You can use them. No security fencing required. But we might want a labourer to spend, let's say, a day tidying everything up. Skip for site clearance, 1 skip. If there's a compound base required, just add it in. Skip permits, base suspension costs, insurance costs, site security costs, health and safety costs, 500. Good, covering the cost of, say, traffic cones and such there. And click finish. And then, again, travel costs. I'm going to delete that workbook out. Now at the end, what you'll see is we have additional templates. So we've done one extension, and it could very be well now that we've got 2 parts of this build that are new build. As I said before, we're doing extension, but we could also be building a garage as well. I've done a lot of the renovation as part of my additional rooms. So I'm going to say garage extension attaches to existing building or detached garage. Let's do detached garage. Okay, I'm going to select a single roof, single garage. Now, it does give you a prompt here that by selecting the template Apex Roof Single Garage, you have selected an estimate a separate detached building. This option is commonly used if you're quoting for a site with multiple units on it, or a building with a detached garage. You may like to consider estimating using separate buildings in different estimates. So if you're doing a small site, let's say, you may wish to do the estimates separately, so you can control those individual estimates and then drawing them together as a site project using My Projects. Do I wish to continue? Yes. So once again now it's going to add which workbooks I want to add. So I'm just going to go for external walls, roofs, say walling sundries, windows, and external doors. There we go. Click OK. So I've just added a small group of workbooks in this time. I'm going to add in a small garage door. Number of 1. Add in a single window. I'm going to add any treatments in. Now with a window, I can add a treatment to the top and I can add a treatment to the bottom as well, so stone sills. But to just select that as an example, there we go. It's got one stone sill that I can select from the catalogue for this. But it gives me a picker to allow to select the sill. There we go, and I can pick the top as well for that window. There we go. So now we've got top and bottom to-dos. View my window, just make sure everything's happy with that one. And we are done. I can look at the estimator sections and I can add in extra sections. So if I had forgotten to add in say an item that I wanted to use, drawing this, say electrics, I can add that in now, select that, and it'll be added into my list here, where I can go to add group of items directly, garage electrics, select, and that's now added for me. Close. Now, as a point, as you're running through, if you want to make sure that what you're doing is saved, you can hit save on the quick quote there itself. Okay, we have a save to library as well. So if you have gone through Quick Quote and you've estimated, say, a job that you do frequently, say just single story extensions or double story extensions or just garages that you build often, you can save that to library. Give it a name, click OK. Now what I'm going to do now is create Quick Quote. Now you have added the following specifications of openings to your Quick Quote but not entered a number to estimate. Do I want to review them? Yes. Okay, that's going to be on my Windows. Number of 1. There we go. So it's going to catch me there. And create Quick Quote. So now on to the final bit. We are going to be running this into Estimator Standard. So depending on the size of your estimate, speed of the machine, this is kind of the point you say, grab a drink, put the kettle on, make yourself a cup of tea or coffee, come back, make your final alterations to materials if required, give everything a peruse and value, and go from there. So bear with me a moment, I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee, and once this is done, we're going to move on to a bit more of a Q&A session. Now, I've seen some questions come in already, so I'm going to do my best to answer those for you. Okay, back in a moment. Yeah, that's all coming in nicely. So, I've got some questions coming already. So, if you've got any questions yourselves, like say, start firing them over. Okay, almost done. Now, one of the items that pops up at the end of doing an estimate with Quick Quote is it will say items that need items defining, such as the Velux window I added in there, the roof window. Prompt there for items require specifying. In that case, it's going to be things like roof blinds, so I'm going to ignore that for the moment. What I do also get is, do I want to review the lintels and cavity closers specified in your estimate? I'm going to say yes. So what I have here now is a preview of all the cavity closers that are being, and lintels that are being used throughout the estimate. So I can show their locations. So I can see here that the cavity closer there is being used in a door and a window. Still lintels of different sizes where they're being used. So if you've got multiple of, it'll show you which workbooks they're being used in. I can manually swap those lintels for another one if I so wish, using this tool. Or I can use an automatic lintel selection. So I can say cavity wall 90 to 105 millimeter and apply. And it will run through and apply those lintels as required. That tool is actually something that's been available in the software for a while, but now we choose to say prompt you within the software. Okay, so that's my estimate imported. I've done, say, a large room renovation, a quick bit of painting and decorating in another room. I've built an extension with, say, a wraparound extension with a lot of steel work, and I've built a garage on the side there as well. I've done that in, say, less than 40 minutes while talking about everything, and I have my price there to show for it. Now, quick example of what I meant previously when I said how if you save items as you go through, I could have saved my chart types here, but I'm just going to bring small extension again, specifications items as before. I didn't save any of this. But when I go to create estimate, I can say I can pick an estimate here. Okay, to these items. But what I'm going to do to add additional template. My template. My corner. There you go. Go in there. And everything that I've done previously is saved. So if I do wish to continue using that repeatedly, I've got those templates available. There's my windows. As before. I saved it before adjusting that number of windows. There we go. And I could then run through and create that estimate. So I can make a duplicate estimate based straight off my saved template. I'm not going to do that for now. I'm going to close out of there and enter back into my training webinar. I'm not going to actually, I am going to load up Quick Quote because we're going to talk about some of the things, the questions that we've got here through. So the first question I got is it still possible to add a location to the workbooks, as I've not seen this option in Quick Quote. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out of that, and we're going to see what the locations are coming through. Now, the locations these days are based on what you're selecting. So it's going to be starting to come through as pre-templated. So my external walls are coming through as to the corner single story extension. That's my location. If I was to go through to, let's say, my internal lighting, we have multiple aspects to that one. So I've added them into the house there. Unit lighting and strip lighting are added to the kitchen. So it's going to be still an opportunity to swap the location as you were able to previously. It's not something that's going to, for some of those items, be based on where they are, like the walls. So you may have to come in here and say possibly split them out if you want them allocated to different locations. Like I say, the locations themselves, it's not something I've seen come through as something you can tweak while in Quick Quote. It's something that's going to be happening after. Okay. Next question. On foundation, can I fit passive foundation raft? Well, when you select the template, it is going to be coming in with the default, say, footings and foundations, and also the slab there as well. So if I go to the floors drop down, what I can do is swap from a extension slab say house slab, in block floor, uninsulated timber floors. Like I say, that is not required. Okay, and then what I can do is add in an additional item. So in this case, estimated sections, I've got everything I want to add in there. So plastering, It's not going to be under external works. I think what I shall do is I shall just go to that to add an additional template. Actually, scratch that. We'll just add a room. That'd be much quicker. Go to my rooms. Add. In this case, it is now shaped. If I want to do that as a raft instead. Description. So it's going to be an extension to the kitchen part itself, or we could say it's actually it's going to be an extension to the family room at the back. And oh, not floors in this one. Scratch that one then. I'll just go down add a customized build one instead. There we go. Floors. Floor cassette raft. So there's my rafts. I could add a raft with tow. So of course, if I was going to be, if it's going to be affecting my footings, that'd be something I'll be minusing out during my template stage. Now in here, because I'm going to be just doing a straightforward raft, I'm going to be doing this as a half and half. So I've already done the estimating for that on the other half of the raft. So I've added in my raft in there instead. There we go. So close that. And now that's added in as an additional template, because it's not going to be part of the floors up as the other ones, so I've just added that in. Because if I'm having to go, say, bigger than the actual flooring section, because what the flooring section does, it reads the internal space of all those walls. So if your raft is having to be bigger than, say, the internal space, add it as an additional template so you're not beholden to the original, say, constraints of the template. Okay, next question. If you build your own workbooks, will they be included as an option in Quick Quote? Unfortunately not, as far as I'm aware, because the Quick Quote workbooks are formulated in a very specific way in how they link together. And you say, you'll see that when you are within the EstimatorXpress side of things itself, under the Workbooks tab. So I'm going to save this, close out of this. Yeah. You'll see that your items are added under My Workbooks. So, and those My Workbooks are not something that's available under the Quick Quote, unless the Quick say wizards itself were adjusted. Then you said to when you're actually producing those say workbooks yourself using a power pack, they won't be, say, recognizable in a kind of format of data that they're put in. Now, if that was something we were to change, in the future, it'll still mean that any existing PowerPack workbooks you've created also need to be edited to be able to be visible to PowerPack. So I don't believe that's going to be something that's going to be changing soon. But if you've got, say, an existing workbook that you've created for a specific reason, then when you get to that point that it's, say if you've got a wall workbook that you've created or a rendering workbook, just say not required during the quick quote section, and then just access that post import as you would traditionally go into the my workbooks and added that in yourself. So you can still use your own workbooks, you just have to do it post the quick quote stage. So instead of doing, say, 95% of the work and you leaving to do 5% tweaking, it's doing, say, 85% of the work and you're doing 15% of the tweaking instead. Okay, another question I want to have to know, EstimatorXpress for using this add-on. Say, not entirely. It can be a cheat into the software, but if you've used EstimatorXpress before, it does, say, make a lot more sense as you're going through things. Definitely get much more of a sense of, say, oh wow, this makes everything easier as you're using it. Like say, understanding, say, what some of the workbooks were there before does help with how it starts formatting things and adding them in, but it's not a requirement. We've actually done this to help even, say, even newer users to get into the software. Ease of use is a very important aspect. Now, say, running out of questions, so please fire them my way. I know, say, you might have said in the email that got fired out to you that we can make this a quick webinar. But like I say, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. There's a few of you out there, so I'm hoping to get a few questions in. Right. Can you view this webinar again in the future? Yes, I actually remember to hit record. Don't know if they're going to be including this bit, but because coming to the end of the webinar is the point where the bad puns start coming out. I'm also going to have to edit out the bits where I had to quickly react to the mute button because a 3-year-old tried and made in the room. Okay, how does this work with Plans Express? Now, if you've got items that you've done in Plans Express, say walls, roofs, you've drawn it out, and you've imported that in, you can still run Quick Quote. Though I will warn you that if you've done a brick and block cavity wall within Plans Express and then you select a brick and block cavity wall within Quick Quote, the Quick Quote one will override that workbook. But if you've done the major structural items, let's say, within Plans Express, you may find that Quick Quote is a very convenient way to add in additional rooms worth of renovation because it's very quick to do so. It's also a very quick way to add in additional rooms or even the rooms that you're actually designing's worth of electricals and plumbing. So they can work hand in hand as long as you make sure you're not double estimating. So the way to do that would be is when you go to your Quick Quote after doing your Plans Express imports is to basically be using the under additional templates, the custom build or renovation templates. So you're only adding in the ones that you want to use and you don't accidentally override it with a house template or a bungalow template. Okay? So, more questions? Excellent. Glad you're happy with that. Say, if you feel that I haven't answered your question, say, adequately, please let me know and I'll act to elaborate further. So I'm going to just mute the microphone for a second while I take a sip of my drink. 1 second. Okay, so question there, what is the cost? The RRP is $299 plus VAT. So if you are renewing or upgrading your copy of EstimatorXpress to the latest version, then say that would be something you wish to discuss at the point of sale, but say RRP is $299. Okay, so please come forward with any questions. So as a point, just put this up on screen. Remember your support resources. Okay, so if your question hasn't been answered here, or if you've just forgot to ask a question, if I've sent you to sleep, then you can always just give us a call. Select the how-to videos, because we have, say, more videos coming as well for quick quotes. Yep, FAQs, user guides, and the training and webinars, underneath which this may be available as well. Thank you, Peter. I'm going to say we do try. You say that one of the most important feedback for us is, say, how well we're doing, what we can do better, and say if people have suggestions about, say, what they like in the software, or if there's anything that the software could do a little bit better, then please let us know. Okay, so we've reached the hour mark now, so I'm going to give you a minute or so just to say get any questions there. Even if you've got a long type of a question, just spam something in the questions box just to let me know that you're typing away. If not, we shall end the webinar soon. Okay. Hugh, wraparound extension to the other side. Well, in that case, you would be using an additional, say, template again. So you've done the wraparound on one side, and then you would add in, just say, a template. So I've got my wraparound here already. I can go to my additional templates. I can go extension, and then I can pick an extension one again. So lean to single story extension, or an infill one. We could go for an infill one because it's not. So there we go. We've got that item there. Leave the floors, doors, roofs, cut dimensions wizard there as well. So I'm doing a non-hipped one there. So as an example, just to add that in if I want to swap the roof around. So you can add in additional items as many times as you need to formulate a more complicated build if need be. So I go now, just add in a roof. Okay, so if I want to add in additional items again, so I can do that on top. Okay, so I'll close that there. So hopefully, say that answers your question there. So if you've got something that's a little bit more than just what we've got templated, just combine the templates. You don't get a visual image of the extension because the templates that we've got presented are generally for your benefit. Okay, if something visual is what you'll be after, then popping something together quickly in Plans Express, it would be your best bet on that one. If you've got EstimatorXpress, say, and you don't have the plumbing, you would have Electrics. Electrics is included as part of, say, the total toolkits, which is the standard and the standard editions. But if you don't have the plumbing, it would just say that you're unable to estimate those parts. It would be grayed out. You'd still be able to use items such as the bathroom and cloaks. And the bathroom and cloaks not part of it, is say. So that's also available in the Total Toolkit and Standard Editions. It allows you to just add in the cost of, say, a bathroom, the bathroom suite, the boxing in as required. But say you won't be doing any of the plumbing or pipe work, boiler fitting and stuff like that. Okay, so if you did want to do the actual individual, say, pipeworks and radiators we've done here, you would need the plumbing and heating on top of that as well, which is $249 plus VAT if you've already got Estimator. Okay, how to add in demolition of existing garage before using quick quote for new garage with upper floor studio. Okay, so if we're looking to do a bit of demolition, again, you'll see that under these sections here, what I've got available to me, demolition isn't part of that. So what you do, again, add workbook or go to the workbooks tab. Add in a demolition of those items individually. Okay, so large area of external wall, so it could be removing downstairs. Stairs 3 meters high, give us a bit of space. 4. I see, 10 meters worth of wall, and add that in as appropriate. It's one of the things there as well, especially say demolitions and even some renovation jobs as well. It's not something that it's very easy to template. Okay, so yeah, demolition stuff. There's certain renovation stuff like knock-throughs and have been templated, but say demolition stuff, leave it to the workbooks after. Has it been made to work with a Mac? Not yet, and it's not going to be something that I say is generally on the books. I say even as we're moving away from Excel itself, even as quick as some of the older versions of Excel are, you can see here, we still require, say, the code bases based on, say, Windows components. Say what was the 249 plus VAT? The 249 plus VAT is the plumbing and heating edition. So answering a previous question there, if you wanted to do the radiators and boilers, pipework and such, you would need that as an addition to the software. If not, it would be grayed out when you're using the software. When you put in the steel in, does the quick quote allow for the walls to be removed? Yes, when you've got structural openings, because it's got a defined area to work with on that, it can remove those walls for you. It's very much like, say, the structural openings as like in Plans Express. You can add structural openings in and it will do the removal of that as spoil and add labour in as well. But it doesn't handle, say, just straightforward demolition. Yes, the plumbing, say, anyone that's purchased the Ultimate Edition in the last couple of years will have the plumbing in there as well. At the moment, I shall answer the question for you. So and if you've got the Ultimate Edition as well, then you've also got access to the quick quote. Plans Express. If you're looking at Plans Express there, the Total Toolkit edition of Plans Express is $799 plus VAT. The Ultimate Edition, which includes the Photo 3D Visualizer, is $1,099 plus VAT. Generally, we would do, have a negotiation with for existing users as well. Say, is that the Ultimate Edition of Estimator? Well, if you've got EstimatorXpress Total Toolkit, you can upgrade to the Ultimate Edition, which gives you access to all the workbooks. So, like say, basement retaining walls, which will give you the slab stuff as well. The SIPs and ICF, shop fitting items. So that would be from from Total Toolkit is 450 plus VAT. If you want to upgrade from the standard edition, it's 650 plus VAT. If you've got an older edition of EstimatorXpress, so you've got, let's say, V7 or V8, then you can actually jump up the editions as well. With say at the moment, say there's a deal on, but say normally it's 898 plus VAT from very old editions like V6s and V7s from Total Toolkit up to Ultimate, so you can do all in one big lump. Is there a template for external balconies? Not that I've witnessed so far. So if you say that'd be say balconies that just say extending steelwork from internally, because that would be something you might have to still say estimate using some of the default workbooks, or if it's a cost you may add in using a composite workbook. Does depend on what kind of balcony you're on about. If it's one of the small ones that are bolted on just to say about protrudes about 30 centimeters, or something much larger like a timber construct. Okay, well, while you elaborate on that one, what is it? Is there a template for converting a loft, or multiple templates have to be used? Currently, multiple templates, but the loft templates is next step in the evolution of Quick Quote. So we've not just released it and left it there. It's going to continue to evolve. We're going to be adding more templates into the Quick Quote itself. So lofts, that's one of the next big ones, because it is another aspect of estimating that does require multiple workbooks to achieve even the most basic aspects of. So attic conversion, attic wall shaped plastering and decorating, plastering, roof renovation workbook, and have all added together to produce that. So that's going to be coming as a template, hopefully. Is there a template for garage conversions in there? If you use, say, an internal renovation workbook, say if you use a room for a garage conversion, I think if you are having to, say, plasterboard the walls, insulate with battening on the inside, you might be able to do that just under the internal renovation workbook. If you're having to do something a bit more hefty, such as a much thicker stud and insulation, you could change the spec of the materials in the internal renovation, or you can just use a length of stud wall around the internals. No templates as of yet, but I think that's something else that's been put under consideration, because there are other aspects to include, such as adding in the length of wall that's going to be replacing the garage door, and then adding in the window as well. So these are all items that we're going to be, let's say, considering and looking at as templates. Well, say if it's something, say, as a template, we can make it quicker for you. That'd be ideal. But say for the time being, use a room and the wall and window. You should be able to still get through Quick Quote with that quite quickly. That's a mouthful. Wait one sec. I've got coffee just freshly delivered. One sec. No, we won't be moving away from workbooks, because at the end of the day, the workbooks are the calculators. Quick quote is the front end to it. The heavy lifting is still done within the workbook. As you see, when you do the actual create quote, it's still having to access the workbook, run the calculations through, because it's within the workbook that it's cross-referenced between spec and price book as well. That's okay. Glad you got a nice drink there, Peter. And say, Gav, say, enjoy dinner. I actually haven't had mine yet. I came home, got my PC ready, panicked because I didn't have the font for the presentation part, because I left my memory stick in my work computer, and yeah, jump straight into this. So, cool. Any more questions? I do feel sometimes that I haven't answered enough, so there's still quite a few people left in this webinar. It's actually one of the pleasing things about this is actually quite a few faces, or quite a few names, that I haven't spoke to. But there's a few names in here as well that I have seen, say, a fair few times. I recognise you guys. Thank you for attending. I say some of you I spoke to today and said you'd be attending. Hopefully I've not disappointed. Don't be afraid to say hello. Oh, we know your names. Will there be an easier way to change prices for materials? Well, that is something that is coming possibly September. That'll be something to keep an eye on now, right, Keith? I have something in the bag for you. The bag of treats. Of hard work and labouring. Right, well, some for any more concerns here, I'm going to say demand once again, ask me questions. If not, I'm going to eat this Kit Kat, not Kit Kat, this Twix ripoff that's hovering near my desk before I fall over for lack of energy. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Keith. Bye bye. But yeah, for those that are left, don't be afraid to give a rating as well. Just say if you feel that it went too fast on anything or didn't elaborate enough. Just mention it, because if you don't, I won't know what to improve on any future webinars. Okay. Brilliant. Right. I can see the great exodus has begun, so I shall bid you all a good evening. Enjoy the TV for the evening. Have a nice cup of tea and enjoy your tea. Good night, all.